This is the story of a nation that gave the world its most beloved racket sport. They wrote the rules, they built the first courts, they hosted the first tournament, they created the governing body that still runs the sport today. For decades, England didn't just play badminton, England was badminton. But today, if you look at the world rankings, you won't find a single English player inside the top 50 in men's singles, not one. The nation that invented this sport is now invisible in it. So what happened? How does a country go from founding a global sport to becoming completely irrelevant in it? This is the complete collapse of England badminton. And the truth is more complicated and more painful than anyone wants to admit. Chapter 1. The nation that built everything. Before we talk about the fall, we must understand just how powerful the foundation was. The sport was born at the Badminton estate in Gloucestershire, England, the country home of the Duke of Beaufort, around 1873. This was not just a game invented in a backyard. This was a cultural moment, a sport born inside the walls of English aristocracy, then released to the entire world. The Badminton Association of England published the official rules in 1893 and formally launched the sport internationally. Then, in 1899, they created and hosted the very first badminton competition in history, the All England Open Badminton Championships. The All England, the most prestigious badminton tournament on earth, created by England for England and dominated by England for decades. Up until 1939, every single All England Championship title had been won by English or Irish players. England's era of dominance ended that year, though the full significance of that moment was not then fully realized. That was the last time England truly owned the sport they created, and while they celebrated their legacy, the rest of the world was already watching, already studying, already preparing to take everything England had built and take it somewhere England could never follow. Chapter 2. Asia woke up and changed everything. While England was resting on its history, Asia was building a revolution, country by country. China, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Korea, Japan, they did not just adopt badminton, they transformed it into a religion, government funding, national academies, dedicated training facilities, full-time professional pathways from childhood, cultural obsession that turned local heroes into national icons. Asian nations became completely dominant in international competition, with China, Denmark, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, South Korea, Taiwan and Japan consistently producing world-class players. Great Britain, where the rules of the modern game were codified, is not among the top powers in the sport. The Olympic statistics tell the most devastating story of all. Asian players have won 81 of the 91 Olympic medals ever awarded in badminton, including 28 of the 29 gold medals ever contested, 28 out of 29 Olympic gold medals taken by Asia. England, the country that invented this sport, has won 0 Olympic gold medals in badminton. 0. That is not just a decline, that is a complete historical collapse. A fall so steep, it is almost impossible to comprehend when you understand where England once stood. Chapter 3. The funding crisis that broke the system. Every collapse has a breaking point. For England badminton, that breaking point was money. A UK sport funding cut reduced elite-level investment from £7.4 million down to £5.9 million based on missed performance targets. Simultaneously, Sport England also cut grassroots funding from over £20 million down to £18 million. Both cuts happened together. Elite and grassroots both bleeding at the same time. Think about what that means in real terms. Cut the elite funding and your best current players lose. Support, resources and coaching infrastructure. Cut the grassroots funding and the next generation of talent never gets discovered, never gets developed, never gets the chance to become elite in the first place. England did both simultaneously, and the consequences were not just predictable, they were catastrophic. Funding volatility, limited elite pathways and increasing competition for indoor space have all contributed to a widening disconnect between grassroots participation and international competitiveness. The talent was there, the passion was there, but the system, the structure that should have turned passion into performance, simply collapsed under its own weight. Chapter 4. The broken pathway in China. A gifted 7-year-old is spotted, selected and placed into a full-time training academy. Their entire future is invested in immediately. In Indonesia, Badminton clubs exist in every town, every village. Young players compete from the age they can. Hold a racket. The pathway from street player to world champion is clear, structured and real. In England, that pathway simply does not exist. Most badminton participation in Britain takes place in multi-use leisure centres rather than dedicated clubs. Players tend to fit sessions around work or school, with limited access to sustained coaching or proper competitive environments. By contrast, tennis and squash offer far clearer club-based routes from junior level to performance environments. This is the structural disease at the heart of English badminton. Millions of people play the sport casually across England every single week. They love it, they enjoy it, but the bridge between casual player and world-class athlete, between a leisure centre session and an Olympic final, does not exist in England the way it exists in Asia. In Asia, that bridge is a highway. In England, it is a broken rope over a canyon. And, until that changes, no amount of talent will be enough. Chapter 5. Invisible in their own sport. There is one more layer to this collapse. One that cuts deeper than funding, deeper than pathways, deeper than rankings, invisibility. In China, badminton players are treated like national heroes. Sponsorship deals, prime-time television coverage, sold-out arenas, millions of passionate fans who know every statistic of every player. In England, even their greatest modern players walk through their own country completely unrecognized. Chris Langridge, who won men's doubles bronze at the Rio 2016 Olympics, once encountered a Chinese fan in a shopping mall who could recite every single statistic from his career in perfect detail. Back home in England, however, he had been personally recognized only once or twice in his entire life. Read that again. A British Olympic bronze medalist, unrecognized in his own country. When a sport has no visibility, it attracts no investment. When it attracts no investment, it produces no stars. When it produces no stars, it has no visibility. It is a cycle, a trap. And England has been caught inside it for decades. England gave badminton to the entire world. Every rule, every tradition, every structure that makes this sport what it is today was born in England. And yet, the world took that gift, built empires with it, and left England standing outside the door of their own creation. The collapse of England badminton is not just a sports story. It is a story about what happens when a nation stops protecting what it builds, when funding disappears, when pathways close, when talent goes unnoticed and unrecognized in its own home. The sport did not abandon England. England slowly, painfully, quietly abandoned the sport. If this story moved you, hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps this channel more than you know. Subscribe to Beyond the Shuttle, where we tell the real stories behind the sport we love. Comment below, do you believe England badminton can ever rise again?